On today's show,
Trade winds are a-blowing. We debate the strength and likelihood of some NBA trade rumors.
in Worst of the Week, there are some obvious candidates, but also a worthy dark horse.
And do you like dunks? Good. We've got lots in this week's top 10 plays.
It's Friday, December 18th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to the Starters. Shout out to everyone joining us live on NBA TV or watching us a little bit later on YouTube. We're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Good evening, sweet world.
To his right, hey. It's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, last, certainly not least, it's the tall guy on the set, Starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey,
TK, what's going on this Friday?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters, and congratulations are in order for Cleveland Cavaliers guard Iman Shumpert and his fiancee Tiana Taylor, who had their first baby earlier this week. Pretty cool. But even more cool is that Shump literally delivered this baby with his own two hands. Happened in the couple's bathroom after she unexpectedly went into labor. Supposedly he tied off the umbilical cord with a pair of headphones. Crazy, crazy stuff. An unforgettable story. Really happy. That's awesome for them. But it brings us to our question for you guys today. If you had to have an NBA player deliver your baby, who would it be and why? I'm going with Ricky Rubio because I want a happy face in the delivery room. But if you got somebody better, tweet it to us. Use hashtag the starters, and we'll see your best answers later.
All right.
That
good
deserves
stuff.
an Iman Shumpert.
It does
No
indeed.
doubt.
All
Ricky
right,
Rubio.
so we've got worst of the week a little bit later. We've got the top 10 plays of the week, but rumors are in the air. So it's time to track the NBA trade wins. Here's how this works. I'm going to give you a player, someone's name who's coming up in trade rumors and reports, and you tell me just how strong the trade wins are. To make things simple, we've built a trade win scale, guys. All right, so here's the scale. Lowest on the scale, it's a sea breeze.
Right, nice.
Level 1, nothing going on
Yeah.
really with these trade rumors in your opinion. Maybe you feel a little differently. Level 2, strong gust. Hold on to your hats. Maybe there's a little something to this rumor is what you're telling us. Next one on the level, full 4 scale. You think it could happen
Yeah.
with this particular player in the trade rumors. And the final one, level 4, F5 tornado. You think that
It's
trade
happening.
is definitely happening. All right?
Yes, let's get to it.
Play along at home. Tass, we'll start with you. Suns power forward, Markieff Morris.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Markieff Morris is an F5 tornado. This is fitting. Markieff Morris is going to blow right out of Phoenix.
Okay.
The Suns are having trouble with Markieff Morris like we're having trouble with these things flying at us right now. Morris has not been a good scenario there in Phoenix. He's causing problems. Last year they signed him to a 4-year extension. They thought he was the power forward of the future. He had a good year. Then Marcus Morris gets traded. Bro gets traded. And things just go awry. He says he doesn't want to be there. And by his actions on the court, mentally he's not there. He's just physically, he shows up. But actually, the last 7 of 9 games, they've given him a DNP CD because he's not performing on the court. Again, last year he looked great, 15 points per game, and he's dropped off this year. But I think he could be moved. Even though other teams might see him as a malcontent, I think you look at this guy, he plays inside, outside. He's great for this day and age in the NBA.
Yeah.
You get nice cost certainty, 3 more years at $8 million per year. That's nothing in this day and age in the NBA. And there's just going to be teams that can take him on. Maybe not a championship level team, but a team that looks at this guy and says, 25 years of age, why not bring him into our fold and see what he can do at a very minimal number?
Well, you mentioned he can step outside and knock down the three-pointer, but he's also got a strong post game. And the way the game is played nowadays, you need someone who can space the floor, which he's capable of doing, but he doesn't just live on that. So I think he's definitely got a lot to offer. Obviously, things haven't worked out too well right now for him there in Phoenix, and that started in the summer. But if he can get his attitude right and get back into a good situation that works for him, I think he can still be a very productive player.
All right, we ask you to play along at home. Hashtag the starters. Where do you fall on the trade win scale? All right, next one. Lee, we'll start with you. Pelicans power forward Ryan Anderson. Where or how strong are the trade wins with Ryan Anderson?
I'm going with a strong gust on this one.
Okay.
I think a healthy Ryan Anderson still provides a lot of value. He's been healthy this season and he's playing really, really well for the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think a lot of teams would benefit from his skill set. Another guy, another big 6'10 guy who can spread the floor, knock down that three-pointer. He's a good rebounder as well. He's only 27 years old, and I think the Pelicans have to decide if he's a part of their future or not, because this is the last year of his contract, so he's going to be a free agent. And I think given his age and given the way that he can shoot the ball, teams are going to throw a lot of money at him. So if they are prepared to keep him, the Pelicans, then it makes no sense for them to trade him right now. But if they aren't going to go forward with him, and if they want someone else to go alongside Anthony Davis, then I think they could probably look maybe a little bit closer towards the deadline just to see which team would be prepared to maybe give up even a first-round pick or some other young assets or something else for the Pelicans to build with going forward.
And I think he would be even more sought after than a Markieff Morris, even, Ryan Anderson, because, I mean, like you said, both guys, as a bigger power forwards, they can still shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
But Anderson doesn't bring the somewhat baggage that Morris has.
Sure, there's some baggage there.
That he has right now. Ryan being a little bit older as well, a bit more of a vet maybe in your locker room. I think a lot of teams will be at least calling to see what you said, like exactly with the Pelicans. Hey, are you willing? Are you moving on from this guy after this year?
Especially if teams feel that they're only one part away from maybe really making a push in the Eastern Conference. They think maybe this guy could really help us go forward.
I don't think the Pels are ready to pull the plug. I wish we pulled the plug on this fan, but I don't think they're ready to pull the plug on this.
I got some dust in my eyes.
Yeah, we got some serious debris, but they're only 4 games out of the Western Conference playoff picture. And maybe that's a bit of a blessing and a curse. You got a sub-500 team in the 8th spot in the Western Conference picture. And the Pels have had a lot of injuries, 30th in defense, nowhere to go but up.
A lot of teams apparently are calling the Pelicans. They're not shopping him at the moment. So they're probably just sort of seeing what the feelers are right now for him. And
how these next few weeks go as well, right?
Hey, you went with strong gust. Number 2 on the scale. I understand what you're saying. All right, let's go with another name here. It's sort of a more, I guess, new name in a way, at least in the trade rumors. Pistons guard Brandon Jennings. How strong are the trade wins with this one?
This is a sea breeze. I don't think they're getting rid of him. I think this is good for both player and team. You're the Detroit Pistons. You're Stan Van Gundy. You have the weakest bench in the league. By far, they score a paltry 23 points per game off the bench. It's bad. You've got a talented guy coming back. This is perfect for you. And also for the player, he's coming back from an injury or left Achilles ruptured tendon there. I think he needs to work against second units. And I don't see a lot of teams out there that need a starting point guard. I think if he's working against second units, that's where he's going to earn the most money going into his free agency offseason. Playing against second units, you go to another team where you get more minutes on a starting unit, you're not going to look as good going into this offseason where you're going to make money. And it's an Achilles tendon. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, for sure. The question to me, though, is, and he has said, and he's going to go play in the D-League as part of his rehab to try and get back in here. He says he is fine coming off the bench. But does he truly want that for the long term? Jennings is only 26 years old. We have seen flashes of brilliance from him. Does he want to be Microwave 2.0?
Yeah.
I mean, is he set with that for the rest of his career?
He'd have a great game for it.
Yeah.
He would, you're right. But, what is he hoping to make next year, I think, comes into play. You said they have a horrible bench. They also need to bolster their bench. But is it Jennings, or is it a possibility of moving him for someone that could help him even more long term?
What are they going to get?
I'm just not sold on Jennings wanting to be a backup point guard at the age of 26, or backup shooting guard, whatever you want to call him, for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but be good these next 6 months. And then kick butt now, and you get paid. I mean, what are they going to get back for him that's actually going to help him? I think Brandon Jennings is going to be better for them now than anything they're going to get back.
All right, well, final one here. This one coming from Woj at Yahoo Sports. Rockets guard Ty Lawson. Uh-oh, I think the fan's turning on. Lee, how strong are the trade wins? Cover your eyes, Lee.
This is an F5 tornado. Oh, man, this one is happening because Woj, you mentioned, is already reporting that the Rockets are apparently looking to make a move.
Yeah.
And this is not a case of when, if this is a case of when. Daryl Morey took a gamble on him in the summer, and things haven't really worked out. That's okay. Sometimes things don't work out. I still think Ty Lawson can be, on the right team, in the right situation, a very productive player. But this year so far for Houston, and it's not just him, let's be honest, they've had a terrible season.
Absolutely not.
And he just hasn't been able to sort of get into a groove. He's having pretty much career low numbers across the board. But I still think teams would still be interested. Again, maybe in a backup role. Yeah, he's only 28. He's still young.
Know.
This is his first really bad season. He was good the last few years.
I know, just in the offseason, though, they got 4 players who don't, I'm talking about the Nuggets here in that deal. The Nuggets got 4 players that have barely played.
Yeah.
200 combined minutes from 4 players, plus a conditional first-round pick. After this terrible, terrible start, what are the Rockets going to get for him? Are they going to get? I don't think they can get a first-round pick for him.
No, probably not. But
So why trade him now? I think you just have to hope he gets better at this point.
I think these rumors are coming from Lawson's camp. Maybe not happy with the amount of minutes he's getting there. He's obviously going to miss a couple games now because of the DUI. Back in 2014, he's out for the next 2 games. I think it might be coming not from the Rockets, but from Lawson's side of he wants some more minutes and he's playing for a contract.
Yeah.
Remember, he's 28. You said.
Yeah.
Right there in his prime. Can he get back to anything that he was given the Nuggets? We don't know. That's the question. Is it just a bad fit in Houston?
That's
or
where
is
it
he
for
done?
Me. Yeah,
I mean,
because he's not carrying a significant injury or anything like that. He's not recovering from anything. I think it's just the situation there hasn't worked out for him because it's been a disaster in Houston so far. They've already fired Kevin McHale. James Harden hasn't been his best. Dwight Howard hasn't been his. Things just haven't worked out for him. I think that's all it is so far.
We conveniently left out Dwight Howard, by the way. We've been talking a lot of Dwight over the last couple days. But Trey, you got a tweet for us. What's going on
Yeah,
there?
super educational tweet. It comes to us from Bert Steele, who says it should be an EF5 tornado. We use the enhanced Fujita scale nowadays. Well, sorry, Bert. It took us 45 minutes to even figure out what other kinds of winds there were today. So you're gonna have to deal with the
finger up guy that we thought it was going to be.
Oh, that's
Jeez, man, enhanced
that's an
Fujitas?
E5 on us.
Here comes an
Maybe it was
E5.
a fajita.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We got to take a break. Lots more still to come on the show. Yeah, get in here, Trey. Yeah.
Oh, man.
When
Oh
we
my
return.
God.
When we return.
There's toilet paper in
Chas's
this.
worst of the
Oh,
week.
man,
We got
my
the top
drink.
10 plays of the week coming up a little bit later. Come on back. Welcome back to the starters. We asked you before the break, which NBA player would you want to deliver your baby and why? And to hit us up with hashtag the starters on Twitter. Trey, you've got a few answers for us.
Yeah, a lot of great answers, a lot of Kawhi Leonard big hands talk. But Philip says the mailman, Karl Malone, because he always delivers. Makes sense. Sean
Shut up, son.
Radzuski says, Pau Gasol, I sat courtside in Detroit a couple years ago, and he confirmed he was a doctor. FYI, he's not a doctor. Just went to med.
Wants to be.
And hey, it's the rap said Chris Paul said he would make sure you keep pushing, and if you don't, you'd be benched.
That's good.
Gotta keep pushing.
Keep the answers
Good
coming,
stuff.
guys. Hashtag the starters. Which NBA player would you want to deliver your baby like Iman Shumpert?
All right, this is the point of the week where we hand out the dishonor to someone in the NBA family that has done wrong in the eyes of the starters. It's time for Worst of the Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst of the week.
This week's true Worst of the Week recipients are Rajon Rondo and Gilbert Arenas. Rajon Rondo for a huge mistake he made for his hate speech, for verbally abusing referee Bill Kennedy with an anti-gay slur and then not understanding the gravity of his words, issuing a hollow non-apology, which was then followed up the next day by an apology which was likely forced by the Sacramento Kings. Sad, wrong, and very disgusting. Also, to Gilbert Arenas for objectifying women, sending us back hundreds of years by suggesting that WNBA players should only wear the skimpiest of clothing to increase the league's popularity. It was quite the disturbing rant by a man who has daughters. Both men insulting and denigrating huge swaths of the world's population, so literally, they are the worst of the week in the NBA world. But this is a sports show, guys, just to lighten the mood here. This week's Worst of the Week also goes to the scorekeeper in Milwaukee. Saturday night, when the Bucks snapped the Warriors streak, Giannis Antetokounmpo was credited with his first career triple-double. 11 points, 12 boards, 10 assists. It was inevitable. The Greek freak and all those skills. Congrats, Yanni. Sicharitiriere, Yanni. But the next day, NBA.com's John Schumann, he tweeted me this. At Tasmelis, Bucks official score is my Worst of the Week nominee. Well, you're right. 2 of Yanni's assists were not Yanni's assists at all. If they were assists, I'm not even sure. On 2 separate plays, Michael Carter-Williams passed to Greg Monroe at the free throw line. He drove and scored. Those were awarded to Yanni. Doesn't make any sense since those assists have been rescinded. No triple-double. Scorekeeper in Milwaukee, but really Rajon Rondo and Gilbert Arenas, your Worst of the Week.
Maybe it was like Carter Williams, Antetokounmpo, a lot of letters.
Yeah,
Maybe
scorekeeper
they-
just saw it.
Yeah, from a distance. I was like,
Right.
oh, it must have
long
been the Greek
name.
freak writing it down. Yeah, that's weird. I
Yeah.
wonder how often this happens, what you start to do.
Well, now with Schumann on the case, not very much.
Yeah,
more. But no, talking of assists, though, it is interesting because as part of my duty, looking for very solid play of the night, I basically go through every box score and look at every single assist.
You've seen every assist ever.
Almost every assist this year. And I have noticed that a lot of times guys are getting credits for assists that are very, very
Dubious.
Dubious, yeah. I mean, even this is just from last night. I found 4 assists that were credited that were questionable. Here it is. I mean, LeBron takes 2 dribbles and drives past Kevin Durant.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Another one here from the Lakers game. I mean, if a
It's just weird because assists are the only stat we have in basketball that are subjective, right? It's left up to somebody's judgment at the home arena. So that's not the case with points or, you know,
I mean-
blocks,
Yeah.
rebounds. I mean, blocks
Blocks
a little bit.
Yeah,
but in general, it's like you can see something happen and know exactly what it is.
And
with
it
an
says
assist,
that-
it's just up in the air.
It actually says that in the rule book. It's an assist if, in the judgment of the statistician, the last player's pass contributed directly to a made basket.
Yeah.
But I mean,
What
we
we're
know-
seeing here,
yeah,
very,
like,
very questionable.
It's not really contributing to the basket when you give it to a guy. He waits, then makes a move and score. But because you were the last person to touch a ball before he does that, you get credited.
But
with an
this
assist.
is nothing new.
No, it's not
This
nothing
has
new,
been
no.
going
No.
on way before John Schumann was on Twitter.
Are you
right?
sure?
It has been. We all know. I mean, we've heard stories of Nick Van Exel, the game he had 23
Yeah,
assists
yeah.
back in Vancouver in like '97, and there are reports of like, oh yeah, we were just throwing out assists. We're like, yeah, let's give him one that there. You know, you go back and like John Stockton, I'm sure had a lot of suspect assists as well. They've padded the stats, and I don't even think it's just assists. I think it's other categories as well, just to either hit triple doubles,
Interesting,
hit certain milestones.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. a
Well,
little bit.
steals is another one because sometimes it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the guy who deflects it; it's who picks up the ball. So.
All right, great stuff, Taz. Got to take a break. When we come back, we'll count down the top 10 plays of the week. You're watching the starters.
They do assist better in Europe. That's what I've heard.
Welcome back to the starters. Please don't mind the mess. Lee dropped his own trade win during the break. All right, let's get to the top 10 plays. Take a look at the top 10 plays that made us celebrate, presented by Ciroc.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. At number 10, guys, I got to ask you again. Are you down with KCP?
Yeah, you know me.
Okay, good stuff. Contavious Caldwell-Pope putting Amir Johnson in the spin cycle. Where are you going, Amir? Doing him dirty like Dirk. Call him in the corner here. Casey,
around.
and of course, you got to finish.
Absolutely.
At number 9, Serge Ibaka gets Gordon Hayward big time with his wrist. He blocked that with his wrist.
Oh, wow, a chase down block, but he still got it from the front.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Watch
And
this
the
though,
celebration,
too.
yeah. 2 thumbs down.
Oh, Lee, what do you say to that? All right, number 8, Thursday night in LA, Kobe jumping in the DeLorean, getting her up to 88 miles per hour and going back to the late 90s, putting Capella on the poster.
Clint wasn't expecting it. That's fair.
No one was. Nick
Yeah,
wasn't.
literally nobody was expecting it.
Where's Laker Bros?
At number 7, one highlight of the Sixers season has been Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of that.
He must be a great volleyball player.
Wow, get out of here.
He must be.
His dad must have been a volleyball player.
At number 6, we got some mustache on mustache crime here. It's the Kiwi, Steven Adams, taking the
Joyce
Westbrook
dunk,
bounce
bro.
pass, and that is on the King. That is on LeBron. You don't see this often.
No.
He ain't Tiago Splitter, man.
Just gets it by him.
At number 5, the King gets it back. Check this. Yeah, he's feeling all right. LeBron feeling great. So smooth. The double pump. That's gorgeous.
Sort of one of his signatures.
Yeah, he goes
breakaway
back to
dunks.
this quite a
One
bit.
of them at least.
Very nice.
At number 4, oh man, following the nasty in and out dribble, Durant goes baseline and finishes with the Dr. J-esque reverse layup. That is smooth.
So easy
Look at this
looking, too.
angle.
No problem.
Smooth, like Ciroc. At number 3, Rudy Gay gets out on the break and thrunk.
Hey, cheers to that. Oh man.
That's beautiful. The thrunk is happening all over the NBA right now.
Runks are in.
Is the Thrunk the new Doug? That's what people are saying. All right, at number 2, Will Barton be farting on the Rockets here. Going baseline.
I thought you were going to say he got up and rocked the rim.
He needs a
That
drink
works.
after
Oh,
that.
that works. Go way up.
I love this. This is a great day.
Yeah, he's got some flair in his dunks.
Yeah, we've had a great top 10. Rashawn Holmes only makes it better. Look at that. Another Sixer. You think the Sixers are having a great season? That is mean. That is very, very mean. Gets that knee up in Al Horford.
Oh, and that's
Think
another
it's up.
Thrunk.
Gets
Oh my
some
God.
space. Gets way up. Check Al Horford's reaction is great. Right here. Oh, you got me. Maybe he also got below the belt there as well.
In the rocks.
So many Thrunks, though. 2 in this top 10. We have the DeAndre Thrunk.
Thrunks, baby.
Thrunks, man. Thrunks are in.
2016, year of the Thrunk.
All right, so there's the top 10 plays. Agree, disagree, let us know on Twitter, hashtag the starters. We got to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to turn those Serge Ibaka thumbs the right way up, Lee. Very solid play when we come back.
We'll turn them Serge back out of the right way up.
Back with the starters. Quick look at last night's pick'em results. It's a big old red X on my name again. Taking the Thunder, Cavs win. I am suddenly, 2 games back from task. We are playing for something scary, embarrassing, humiliating, weird, whatever you want to call it. The loser at the end of December will be doing something in early January on the show. If you got suggestions, hit us up on Twitter for hashtag the starters. We've done snakes. We're moving on from that. Tonight's picks. Oh, this is good for me at least. Task the only one taking the Timberwolves. Everyone else taking the Kings. I really, really need the Kings to win to have any chance with the short week with Christmas coming up. All right, Lee, where are we going for the very solid play?
We're going to Charlotte, and it's another beauty from the Hornets. Here it is. Kemba Walker passing Ciroc into Jeremy Lin for the reverse layup. Watch it again here. This is Marc Gasol-like. No one knows where Lin is. There he is. That's beautiful. That's a layup. That's what I call a very solid play.
That's how you do it, Serge.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Lee, we got some more fan signs. These are flying in, man.
Yes, we do. This fan sign is a special one from Christopher Special, who was at the Lakers game last night. This is a really good sign because he's got Wedgie in there, he's got the Starters logo, and he's got a great pun, hoping for some D'Angelo hustle, and he's got a thumbs up. Don't know why they wouldn't let him in that one. That's a perfect sign. But we actually had another one from the Staples Center last night. This is from 10-year-old Ben in LA. He put together another really good sign. A lot of effort went into that, a lot of artwork. Great job, both you guys. Keep sending those in.
What does that say there, that one hashtag? J.E. Skeets
Yes.
better win the next Crossfire or
That's
something?
exactly what he
All
says.
right.
It's a very topical one too.
Hey, you decide the winners.
Great sign, great sign. All right, guys, we recorded the Drop podcast earlier today. It's up on iTunes, it's up on Google Play, it's up on our website. It's an hour long of NBA fun. We dive deep on the Dwight Howard trade rumors and whether the Rockets really should consider moving him. We debate which players in the league could realistically post a quadruple-double. We saw Rubio come close this past week. And Derrick Rose cut his hair. So you know we're talking about that.
Yeah, looking nice.
Looking real nice. Looking like MVP Derrick Rose. So again, that's the Drop podcast. That's it for us. So here comes an F5 tornado. What a way to end the show. We're back on Monday.
F5, that's right, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, if you're looking to spice up a party, portable fan will help out.
I'm too light.